Good morning, Facebook. This is Sylvia Randolph coming to you, and I'm coming to you with some good references based on some of the information that I have been looking up pertaining to the welfare of children, the Child Protective Services, and the Department of Social Services. I have found that the first actual piece of legislation was actually written in the 30th Congress, and it was around 18 in the 1800s, 1836 I believe it was, and it dealt with the welfare and the ability to provide for the basic necessities of children. So, in essence of all of that, here we are today in the 113th Congress, and we find that there is still matters being written for the purpose of the welfare of children. Much of the information that I have provided in the past, excuse me for my tongue-tiedness, that I have provided in the past dealing with some of the issues and problems that we find within the system was actually documented back as far as the early 19th century. And it dealt with actually looking at some of the problems of how social nuances portrayed the overall dominant variable rather than the need to help. And so children were shipped for the purpose of one city perspective to the countrysides to one aspect says help them obtain skills and develop the proper social conditions needed to develop and thrive as a people later on in life as adults. And then the other social condition stated the fact that we also need to deal with these pauper children or vagrant kids. Today, legislation has both poignant purposes in place. The first being that we ought to provide for the safety and welfare of our children, and the second is that we ought to also make sure that they have proper education. There is legislative laws on the books that deal with education. There's legislative laws on the books that deals with the health and welfare of children. There's legislative laws on the books that deals with the overall well-being and safety of children. So we definitely have to understand for ourselves exactly how the evolving movement, social movement of the welfare system has played itself out as it pertains to children in the foster care system. We still have orphanages where children are kept and stay, and we still have foster care families. We still have adoption. We have all of those things that actually put us and keep our welfare purpose for children in place. The other aspect or the other venue that I want to address is the fact that we also must look at it that this was not brought to the table from a political perspective. It was brought to the table for a humanitarian need. And so when we look at that and trying to make something that is not a political perspective, something that is a humanitarian need, how do we base this on a balanced level so that we can get the proper legislation passed as well as get the proper needs of process and protocol in place so that children are well taken care of and that a system designed to help is not run over or obstructed because of financial gains and financial means. So my research has definitely brought me to a very valuable point. It has definitely brought me to some very clear theoretical points proven for myself that I've had and felt very valuable. The research I've done has taken me as far back as the English common law, understanding how our constitutional process even became engulfed within the welfare of our children and the question of the constitutionality of the family. The constitutionality of the family and how that basis has been implemented in our system, how the Supreme Court decides its cases, how it builds on different inferences that pertain to different social family styles, types, and thus forth. So the meaning of property, the meaning of privacy, the understanding of the given family value is all very pertinent to what we begin to understand, see, and view as the needed continuum for the welfare of our children. And so I hope after 7 White House conferences, the last being in 1970s, I believe, don't get me wrong, we just had a senator who requested another White House conference. And I would suggest and hope and pray that if that didn't happen, that it does happen. And that during that White House conference, we begin to look at how we can place management, systems, controls, finances, governance, and supervision, reporting, and all of the prospects that make the lives of children very special, that they are very well taken care of, that they are safe, and that the neglect does not come from our institutions' inability to provide the proper care, needs, and assistance to our families. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.